welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Book. And today, one day late, say it quietly, I will be talking about the books that I read in the month of June. I read, here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books in the month of June. Pretty good going, not as good as May, but still pretty good. So I'm going to talk through them. I actually finished I finished filling out my book journal in June, so I will be switching over to this. There might be a bit of kerfuffle going on, but just go about your business as you normally will. Just ignore me. So the first book I read in June was a bit of a disappointment for me. Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. 3-word review. Bleak as fuck. So bleak. So, I don't think I was in the right place for this. Like, I'd heard some really good things, so I went into it super excited, super pumped, and for me, I just don't think I was in the place for anything this bleak. I didn't really start feeling anything for the characters until the last sort of 10 pages, and at that point, it was too late for me. David's approaching me and he's only got a pair of pants on. Did you come into frame? Oh, you didn't come into frame. It tells the story of a woman, Agnes, who has been condemned to death for the murder of a man, along with another woman and a man. And she has to go and stay with a family who have to sort of like look after her until her execution date is set. I really wanted to love this, and I really wanted to enjoy the scenery and the feeling and things like that, but it's just too bleak for me, and yeah, I gave it 2 stars. I was a bit like, bleh, it's got to go back to the library, it's late, 15p a day, 15p I earn this, so don't do it, kids, don't go down the wrong road. The next book I read was my favourite book of the month. It was a graphic novel, Saga Volume 1 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. I was absolutely engrossed in this. I really enjoyed it. I talked about it quickly in my June favourites. I love the world building, the characters, the artwork, the storyline, everything. It just got 5 stars for me. I'm really late to the Saga party. I feel like everybody in the world had read it apart from me, but I finally got around to it and I absolutely adored it. I love Alana's characters and Isabel, and I can't wait to see where things are going and how it's going to progress, so I will be getting my hand on Volume 2 shortly. 5 stars, well done. The next book I read, 1 star, Go Set a Watchman by Harper Lee. Read this for book club at work. Not many people read it, finished it. I got through it, but I only did because it was book club. Not many people enjoyed it. I was really disappointed, and I'm not even sure it was meant to be published. Like, this is dull and sort of meaningless a bit, boring, long-winded, and I feel like it totally skimmed over the actual important parts of something that could have happened from To Kill a Mockingbird. It's the follow-on from To Kill a Mockingbird, but I'm sure y'alls all knew that. For example, spoiler alert, Jem dying. That was completely skimmed over in this. It was like, oh yeah, Jem dropped dead of a heart attack, the end. That's a really big plot point. Like, go on about that rather than other boring stuff that I don't really give a shit about. In all, I sort of wish I hadn't read it. I really liked To Kill a Mockingbird, and this was just like, fell very flat, and I'll be taking it down the charity shop because there's no place for this in my life anymore. The next book I read was another graphic novel. It was Sex Criminals Volume 1, One Weird Trick by Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky. I really like this. I gave this 4 stars. I thought it was really fun, and I like the artwork, and I like it sort of like, so it tells the story of a couple who, when they have it off and climax, they freeze time, and they use this time at the moment, they're going to use this time to rob banks, and I really like that as a concept. It's really original, never heard anything about it. I thought it was really fun, and although it's a bit all over the place in terms of timeline, like you have to, I've just discovered I've been looking for that, that's my bookmark that Joss made me, and I've been looking for that, and it was in here all along. I'll flip it over it. It was a bit all over the place in terms of timeline. I was able to keep up with it. I really liked how familiar the characters were with me, and there was quite a lot of like fourth wall breaking down, which took place a few times. It felt very inclusive to whoever those were reading it, and I thought it was really fun. I really enjoyed it, and I'm definitely going to be reading a bit more of this. I really liked it. 4 stars. Well done. The next book I read, bit of a curveball. You've probably never heard of a book like this before, but it's called Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling. This was a reread for me, obviously. I like to reread all the Harry Potter books every year. I don't last year? I can't remember. And it's a bit late in the year to be coming to The Prisoner of Azkaban. I try and do it like every other month. I read one of the books, but I've just gone like a long hiatus of not reading any of them. And I'm on The Prisoner of Azkaban. This is still, in a weird order, my favourite of the first three. So my order probably goes 4, easily 4, 4, 6, 7, 3, 1, 2, 5. It was great to revisit this. Good to get a bit of background on Sirius. He's one of my favourite characters, and I love it. I love it forever. I won't keep going on about it, you all know that. The next book is a book that I read for my Facebook book club, I Let You Go by Claire Mackintosh. Now, I would never ever have picked this up. This cover is absolutely drear city. Bloody window, sodding moth, rain on the window, and it just looks crap. But this was actually really gripping. It had me gripped from the start. I've got something in my bloody eye. It really had me gripped from the start, and I didn't want it to put down at times. So it's not like my big bag of things. It's like women's contemporary fiction, basically. It's aimed at a certain market. But I feel like Claire Mackintosh has probably been a bit cheated because of that, because I think this is actually a really like well written, goes into some good detail about some pretty hard topics, i.e. I can't even bloody tell you the sodding topics because that'll give the book away. So it's hard to review this. I was talking to Amy Smith about this, and she was saying the same thing. She's found it hard to review this as well. So although still erring a bit too much on the women's contemporary fiction side of things, I enjoyed the combination of gripping storyline, believable characters, gorgeous description of the Welsh coastline. Like, we've been on holiday to the Welsh coastline twice and loved it both times. Really, really enjoyable description of that. It wasn't without its problems, but it kept me grip, and I think it made for excellent discussion at the book club. I was very, very impressed. And crap fun cover, and the marketing was crap. Like, they say things like, did you love Gone Girl and the Girl on the Train? Now lose yourself in the twisty, enthralling psychological thriller that everyone's talking about. Like, I think this book could possibly be better than Gone Girl and Girl on the Train, so don't set it up like, oh, well, if you like those two, then this might be your third favourite. I think this is marketed wrongly. I can't really tell you much about the plot because there's like humongous twists and turns. If you're into humongous twists and turns, this is the book for you. But yeah, quite enjoyed it. Well done. I gave it 3 stars. Well, probably 3.5 stars, but I've put down 3 stars. That was the end of that book journal. On to the next one.
Yeah.
Then the last 4 books of the month were, the first one was Kitchens of the Great Midwest by J. Ryan Stradle. This was really fun for me. I really enjoyed it. It was a great read. It was almost like a series of interlinking short stories, all about food, and I bloody love food, so this was perfect. So it had great recipes and there was great description about food here. So what this does is this follows the story of a girl called Eva from different points of view throughout her life, and like I said, it was like a combination of short stories, because some of them like barely mentioned Eva, but she is like someone in common that all of these people have. I really, really liked this. None of the characters were particularly likeable, and the plot wasn't the best I've ever come about, but the writing about food was really enjoyable, and I particularly enjoyed chapters with a healthy bit of cooking competition going on in there. I really, really liked that bit. But yeah, I really thought it was good fun. Like, it's not going to like win any awards for like the best book ever written, but you know when a book is just the right book at the right time, like that was this for me. So like I gave it 4 stars because I like food. I liked the way it was set out as sort of short stories, and I liked the links of all the characters together. Took me a bit getting into. The first chapter I was like, oh yeah, we'll see how this goes, and then the second chapter threw me a bit, but then after that, really, really liked it. I gave it 4 stars in the end, so well done. And my final word on that book was yum-tastic. Yum-tastic. The next book I read is something that I've been trying to get my bloody hands on forever and ever, and that is In Order to Live by I'm really going to ruin this name. Yeonmi Park. And I've had this on reservation from the library for months. Like, I was number 64 or something. There's loads of copies of it, but just like really people are into it. So I went into this with really high hopes, having seen a few people's reviews, and I was not disappointed. So this is a shocking story of a young girl's life in North Korea, her escape from North Korea, and her then sort of awful fucking life she goes into in China. And I had to keep reminding myself that this was real, and that Yomi was an actual real person who had been through these awful things. It read like the sodding Hunger Games. Like, some of the shit that happens in North Korea actually reads like the Hunger Games. Like, I don't want to give any spoilers away because I think it's a really important book to read. It's really inspirational and unreal that a girl can have gone through so bloody much in such a short amount of time. So She's younger than me by quite a bit. I'm just trying to find out when she was born. Let me have a look. Does it say? She was born in 1993. I was born in 1986. So how much young? So she's 7 years younger than me. So she's like 23 now, and she's been through so much stuff. She is an incredible girl, incredible, and I would really recommend people to read this. I gave this 4 stars. Inspiring, really, really impressed with it. I'm sure it's been doing the booktube rounds for a long, long time. So I'm sure like I'm not going to be the only person telling you to read it, but read it. The next book that I consumed was All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I listened to the audiobook of this and I was disappointed. I've had quite a few disappointing books, but then still quite a lot of 4 and 3 star ones and one 5-star, so not too bad. This really did not do anything for me at all. I don't know if it was the narration or what, but I felt wholly disconnected and unbothered by the whole storyline. I can't even really tell you the storyline because I just felt so unbothered about it. Nothing about it excited me. Nothing left me wanting to go back for it. I sort of like begrudgingly listened to an hour of it a day because I knew I had to for book club. We're discussing it on Tuesday. A few people in book club have said to me that they really liked it, so maybe I'm just like the big party pooper. But I just felt so unbothered about it. It follows 2 characters during the World War, a German lad called Werner and a French girl called Marie-Laure who is also blind, and I just did not care. I just did not care at all, and it's like won a lot of awards and is really, really popular, but I just felt so flat about the whole thing. 1 star. And then the last thing I read in the month, the 10th book I read in the month was The Little Penguin Classic. They've released a few more of these, although I didn't realise quite how long they did it at the beginning of the year, and I was like, oh, they've released loads more new ones of these, and they were like, they did that at the beginning of the year, Lauren. You are behind the times. This is The Suffragettes by various authors and things. I thought this was a great little black classic. Great snapshot of different things from the times of the suffragettes, including posters, propagandas, essays and speeches, like from both sides, so for and against the suffragettes. Very informative, a great selection. I gave it 4 stars, and I read the whole thing in the bath, so that was very enjoyable. I think this should be given to young people to say, come on, do a little vote. People, especially women, like, people died for you, so we should do that. So those are the 10 books that I read in the month of June. In the month of June. As I said, there was a few like sort of disappointing ones in there, but quite a few 4 stars and 1 5-star. So the bestest book I read this month was Saga Volume 1 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. Really, really enjoyed that. 5 stars. Can't wait to get on to Volume 2. So what did everybody read in the month of June yourselves? Have you read any of these books? Did you enjoy them? Were any of them disappointment to you? Were any of them enjoyable? That's fallen over. And I will see you all again soon for another booktube video. Bye.